What's up guys, MrBayeasy here, and today I have a little bit of a treat for not just me, but you as well, especially for some of you out there. Seduce Me to the Demon War. This is the demo, and I gotta admit, I have been waiting for this, man. I've been waiting to play this, and we actually got it a little bit early, so pretty awesome there. Definitely shout out to the developer for that one. But either way, I'm excited, man. I'm super pumped to see what this has to offer, and it looks like I've kind of been exploring this a little bit. There's no new game, okay? We can't exactly select a new game. We can select these things, though. So I'm assuming these might actually be different paths within the beta or within the demo. So I think that's pretty cool that it might be that involved. I'm not sure, but we're just going to go ahead with green. Of course, we're going to go with green because that's what we're all about. But either way, we're going to start it off there and maybe move on to some of these other ones if we figure out they're different. So here we go, guys.
Is this wise?
Whew. I'm excited, right? I don't know if this is wise, but we're going to go ahead and go with it.
What other choice do we have?
We have plenty of choices. Why be impatient about this?
That one sounds friggin' dastardly, man.
The Demon Lord is vulnerable now. We can't wait any longer.
Striking quickly is not always the best option. We must regroup and charge at full force.
These don't sound like the same characters, so maybe there's some new ones.
For once, I agree with Snake.
Oh, what? Metal Gear Solid?
But what if he does the same? We have the advantage. We have the terrain on our side. We can win this war here and now.
That's a bold statement.
We may have the terrain on our side, but we don't have the strength to fight a second battle without rest.
That guy sounds badass, straight up.
Going now is suicide.
My lady, you've been silent this whole time.
Are we the My Lady? No.
How should we proceed? We don't have the strength to finish the battle, but the Demon Lord is weak. This may be the only chance to strike him down.
Who's this, Diana?
We'll push them back. He's weak, so we can easily force his hand and make him retreat. Once we corner him against the decaying sea, we'll strike and finish him off.
I think that might be Diana. Sounds kind of like her.
Sam, you're being extremely frugal about this. A wedding is supposed to be a grand occasion.
Dude, the art is so cool in this one. I like the shift in art change. That's awesome.
I agree. We have the funds to make this wedding a large event.
Dude, I can make you a giant cake, and we can have a big buffet, and streamers, and a DJ, and...
Sam, calm down.
What? So surprised. Planning a wedding was like strategizing for a war. You know, I guess ruthless, quick, and everything had to be precisely organized for success. Okay, that makes more sense. It was both intriguing and terrifying to think about. However, it was my wedding, so it had to be done. Oh boy. Oh boy. Sam and I were getting married. And his brothers had become our assistant wedding planners. Sam was happy that his brothers were going to assist, but I could tell that their constant suggestions were grating on his nerves. He looks kind of pissed, to be honest. Well, he always looks pissed, let's be honest. But anyway, moving on, we were sitting around the dining room poring over a large scramble of papers that were covered in names, costs, and other bits of information that we needed to know. Each number and letter was important and needed to be checked again and again with each decision we made. There were so many names on the table, I had barely seen mine. Luckily, however, our sample cards and party favors had Sam's name and mine on them. What's your name? Press. Okay, we're just going to go with Mika because that's technically what we did for like the last couple runs. Here we go. I looked over at Sam, knowing that he was getting frustrated. It was obvious by the look on Sam's face that he was very much annoyed by the entire situation.
I don't want a big wedding. I just want to get married.
He wants to keep it simple, guys.
Then why not just go to the courthouse and get your marriage license?
Did his face freeze like that? Because I'm pretty sure, I didn't notice it at first, but I'm pretty sure he has not changed his face. So apparently he's still in shock that someone interrupted him.
Because this is important, okay?
Dang. Sam looked at me and my heart skipped a beat. His eyes bored into mine and I could see the deep love he had for me in his emerald irises. Dang.
This is a big deal for me. For us. I do really want a wedding, but just not a big one. Alright?
Alright. Let's have it your way, dude. It was almost as if he was asking me, pleading for my permission to have the wedding size he wished for. I wasn't really sure myself if I wanted a big or small wedding. I was still curious on how we were going to get this all done. James crossed his arms as Eric rubbed his forehead in defeat. Damian and Matthew, however, looked at their older brother with a new gaze of respect and idolizing awe. Why?
If that is what you want, then that is what we will arrange.
Well, good.
This wedding will be amazing, no matter how big or small it is.
That's the spirit, Matthew. That's the spirit. That's what I like to see.
Why don't we ask the bride what she wants then? She may want a large wedding.
Yeah, that's why I felt this was kind of weird. I was like, usually the bride is the one that's like, kind of dictates how everything goes, but I mean, who knows? They're demons after all, so maybe they have the same things. All five boys looked at me, and I suddenly felt cornered. I wasn't sure. All right, so I don't really want to start any kind of commotion early on in the marriage here. They just got engaged, I'm assuming. So let's just agree with them here and not stir up too much commotion. I had to agree with Sam. I didn't want to make this a spectacle. This wedding was important to me, to Sam and me. That was all that mattered. I would like to keep our wedding small too. It's our wedding, so it doesn't need to be a big extravaganza. Sam looked at me and smiled, causing me to smile back. He's got such a smirk look on too. It was our day, so we had to celebrate it our way. Yeah, that's right. As the brothers took a moment to look over more notes, Sam kissed my cheek softly, surprising me. Oh! Weirdest laugh you could have done, bro. I glared at Sam as he smirked a playful grin at me before turning back to the table of papers and looking through them with his brothers. I giggled to myself and gently held the cheek he kissed. Oh, that's cute. I was glad to make him happy. James pushed his glasses further up his nose and put together a stack of papers, gazing at the content on the front page.
Well, everything that you both listed should be possible for the wedding. I can call up the venues for the ceremony and reception. Eric, can you organize the decorations?
You better. What is this? As the boys began to divide up the work before I was able to step in, my phone began to ring. My screen showed Naomi's face. They're here still, and I stood from my seat. Nice. I'll be right back. I gotta take this. Business. Hello?
Hey, how's everything going?
Oh, it's good to hear your voice again, Naomi. It's pretty good. Oh, hey, Naomi. Everything's going well. We're going through the details now.
Good.
It is.
Seriously, Naomi, you're hogging the phone.
Yeah! Suzu, what's going on? Suzu? My jaw dropped at the sound of Suzu's voice. Suzu was supposed to be in Italy and wasn't going to make the wedding. Why was she with Naomi? I wonder.
Surprise! I was hogging the phone to keep Suzu being here a surprise, but I guess she's too impatient to wait. Fuck waiting. I want to talk to her too.
Damn. The feistiness. It's real still. When did you get in?
Literally 2 hours ago. We wanted to come visit, but we figured you'd be too busy, so we just called instead.
They better have been invited to the wedding, man. Come on, they're like besties.
We're so happy for you. Suzu had to come back for the wedding.
That's right. I felt like crying. Naomi and Suzu were my best friends, and I was so glad to have them. Naomi was following her dreams to become a chef, while Suzu spent a lot of time with her family, so I felt very special to have time to even talk to them. I sat on the stairs and chatted with them, catching up on their lives. Suzu's family was still in Italy, visiting family and traveling the country for a couple of months, but Suzu managed to fly back not only to attend my wedding, but also to manage her family's casino. We know how that goes. Naomi, on the other hand, had been hard at work, both as summa cum laude of her culinary school and being a paid intern at the Pink Lady Cafe. Kay, often out of town, gave Lily a manager position while Naomi manned the cashier and baking duties. It was really nice to hear how their lives had changed over the past 2 years. Mine, however, had barely changed with the exception of the upcoming marriage. I was going to college for a degree I wanted, and I was halfway to my bachelor's degree. Nice. However, my classes weren't hard, and they were very lenient towards me because I was Harold Anderson's granddaughter. What? They just know me? Part of me was frustrated at the special treatment I received, while the other part of me was flattered. Sam, however, went into the police force. Dang. With the help of his incubus magic, he was able to don a badge and service the community well. Everyone knew him and loved him for his hard work, despite his boss being jealous of him at times. Oh, why? I never understood why he joined the force, but I was very happy to know that he felt the need to help people like I did. That is nice.
Are you ready to get married?
Absolutely. It's a lot to take in, I will admit.
You're dancing around the question.
Oh, come on, Suzu. No, I'm not.
Suzu, stop teasing. She's probably just flustered from the work she has to do.
As Naomi and Suzu began to bicker on the other end of the phone, I began to mull over my life. I was 20, turning 21 soon, and I was about to be married. Married! Was I going too fast? I don't know, man. Some people, they get married, like, really quick. My mind began to picture Sam and how happy he was when he proposed to me, and when I said yes. My heart fluttered at the image and I couldn't help but smile. I made the right choice. Yeah, I mean, I've known people in my personal life that literally have known someone like a couple weeks and got married, like straight up, and they're well off. So I don't know, going too fast is probably not the right word here. As I thought of Sam, I couldn't help but let memories of our relationship dance around in my mind. He was sweet and loving, but at the same time, he was hardworking, protective, and proud to be mine. He proved his love for me every time he held me and kissed me.
I bet you two already had sex, though, so there won't be that awkward virgin honeymoon, huh?
Well, Suzu, you seem to be very interested. Jeez, that was a really blunt question. What the heck? Abua! I nearly dropped my phone. I could hear Suzu golf-a-wing at me from the other end, but I was too focused on what she said. Oh man, there should be like a third one that's like really like out there, like, oh yeah, we did that. We did not and have not. Oh, let's damn. Okay, geez, that's really conservative. Nah, we'll say we did. How about that, huh? We'll spice it up a little bit, even if it might be a lie. I don't know what the truth is. I remember the night we first made love. Sam was gentle, but the passion between us had been heated and heavy, adding to our love for each other. Oh my. A small shiver ran up my spine at the memory. We made love multiple times after that, when we needed each other or when we wanted to express our love for each other with our bodies. Making love was truly another way we showed our deep passion for each other. I would expect so, man.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Don't worry, girl. You're not the only one who no longer has her virginity.
Well then, this is okay. Just a demo, and it's really heating up, man. This is a hot phone call.
What?
Damn.
You too? Am I the only one who still hasn't had sex yet?
Well, geez, okay. This went south, literally, really quick.
Not like sex is mandatory, Naomi. Calm down.
Yeah, calm down, Naomi. You'll get some soon. I couldn't help but chuckle a bit. We were so different, but we truly loved each other and were close enough to talk about anything.
But hey, we gotta let you go, okay? We haven't eaten and it's almost 9 p.m.
Damn. Geez, go get some food. We can chat tomorrow or something.
You got it, Chica. We'll call you whenever we're free, even if it's not tomorrow. For now, food!
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
No problem. Yeah, call you guys soon. We hung up simultaneously and I looked down at my phone with a smile. It was good to hear from them at last. However, as I made my way back towards the dining room, I stopped.
I want to do it.
Want to elaborate?
You cannot be serious.
Oh. What? Oh, okay. I was like, something wrong here? I quickly hugged the wall and emptied my thoughts so Damian couldn't hear them. You can just do that? You have acquired some skills, young lady. I listened intently, thinking about Naomi and Suzu as I let my ears capture what I wanted to discover. I had learned so many tricks on how to avoid Damian, it was now easy to fool him. Damn, poor Damian getting scrubbed on early on.
Demon marriage? In the human world? How do you expect to pull this off?
With a bit of cunning, I suppose?
I don't know. I just want to marry her. Both like a human for her and like a demon for me.
I mean,
what?
It's a nice idea, but you need a lot, and I mean a lot, of things we can't get here in the human world.
Such as?
Sam wants to visit the demon black market to find the things he needs.
Probably not a good idea.
Sam! Are you that idiotic?
Okay, James, damn.
Gee, thanks, Damian.
The black market? Really? You'd go that far?
It's my goddamn choice.
A choice that will make you an even bigger target for angels. What the hell are you thinking?
My mind continued to focus on my friends, but my heart became heavy and frightened. Sam wanted things he'd have to go get at a black market. I didn't even realize there was a demon black market. I felt majorly confused, but I let the emotions simply rumble in my chest instead of in my mind.
I know you want to do this with her, but can't you at least think about this? What if you can't find all of the materials needed for it?
Even more so, what if she doesn't want to do it? She is human after all. Did you even ask her?
Yo, he best his next couple words better not be he uses powers.
I was...
That face again, dude. That is literally the most epic face.
Oh, for the love of God.
Sam, come on! I know you're a meathead, but you're not this dumb. Why haven't you asked her?
I just want to bind my soul to her, alright? You know, like the fucking demon I actually am!
Oh, binding souls and whatnot sounds just so comfortable. My thoughts went blank. For a moment I had forgotten that he was in fact a demon. But bind his soul to me? What did he mean?
Yes, you are a demon, but you're in the human world now. Marriage doesn't work like that here.
Damn, dude.
Sam, why are you having doubts?
My entire body froze. What? He was having doubts? Why? I suppressed the surprise in my mind, still remembering that I was eavesdropping, but I was starting to feel upset.
Not having doubts. I want to do this. I just...
You just what? You want to return to the demon world? You want to marry her in the abyssal plains instead of here?
Sounds like a great place.
And if I did? So what if I do? I can get us there, and we'd be able to do the ceremony, and then we'd come back.
You may want to go back, but she would become a target for demons to kill for sport. She'd die before you even returned. Did you even think about that? Huh?
He's like kind of smiling right now. I don't like that. Never mind. A large silence followed. I became lost and nervous. Why was Sam so obsessed about this issue?
James, calm down. Yelling at him solves nothing.
Sam, we all know you really want to do this. We're just trying to show you the facts before you do something stupid.
Oh my gosh, that's a pretty intense little thing we got going on there. I couldn't stand it any longer. It was not a good time to bring it up, so I needed to clear the air of the situation. Eventually, I could talk to Sam about it, but not now. I mentally signaled that I was ending the call and thinking about rejoining the room, knowing Damian would hear my thoughts.
She's coming back.
Damn, dude, he's on point with that. I turned the corner and looked at the five, seeing them obviously divided. Sam was on one side, both hands on the table as he stared down at it in defeat. The other four were on the opposite side looking to me. Damn, Matthew looks really sad, dude. Hey, what happened?
Nothing. We just had a bit of a... Fuck this, I'm done.
All right, damn. Damn, you slide really good, dude. Sam pushed away from the table and began to walk towards me. I watched as he passed me and climbed the stairs, obviously beyond angry. Hopefully not at me. That face again, jeez. Sam.
Miss, wait.
I turned back to see the four Incubus brothers with worried looks on their faces. I wanted to go to Sam, but I knew that he needed to calm down, so I stayed. What is it?
Well, this is very hard to ask.
If Sam wanted to do something very, very specific and hard to accomplish, and if you wanted to, do that with you, would you?
Basically, would you allow Sam to do something that makes him happy but risks his life?
What? I didn't know it was going to risk his life. I thought they were talking about me almost dying, but now he's on the table? I couldn't help thinking about the conversation they had, which made Damian furrow his eyebrows. Crap. Oh, jeez.
You heard everything.
You did?
Well, at least you don't have to explain it. I mean, think of it that way, huh? I closed my eyes. There was no use in denying it. But was it something I needed to talk about with them? I knew I'd have to talk about it with Sam, but with his brothers? Well, they give you a lot more choices in this game. I mean, they were all talking about it anyway. It's not like this is some sort of secret. Let's talk about it. I mean, Sam, for whatever reason, didn't tell us. I don't know why, but whatever. I needed to know more about what was going on. Why was Sam so keen on doing whatever he had planned? I heard what you were all talking about, but I don't understand. A demon marriage? James let out a sigh before rubbing his temple with one hand, crossing his other arm over his chest. Matthew stepped forward, becoming the teacher of the moment.
Well, you see, humans plan weddings and have licenses and stuff, and bam! You're married. Demons, however, are a little more intimate.
As we've come to find. Intimate?
Well, basically, when demons want to be together forever, they don't put rings on each other or anything like that. They bind each other's souls.
That's pretty hardcore, dude. I don't even know what that is. It sounds hardcore. What? This was making no sense, but then again, it was demon magic they were talking about, so it wasn't familiar to me at all. Eric stepped forward and continued.
When two demons want to join together and build their legacy and family, they go through a ritual that binds their souls together for all of eternity. No matter where they are, they will forever sense each other's presence and be able to feel them in their hearts.
Damn.
Pretty much. It's kind of romantic. It's also pretty complicated.
Yeah, what if they end up not liking each other after that? That must suck. Like, seriously. Pretty complicated?
Well, When a demon binds their soul to another demon, they also swear to give their energy to their partner without question. Normally, willpower can be used to fight back when someone takes our energy, but the binding spell will overrule your will.
Oh, shit.
Basically, it's constant consent, even if you fight back. Demons have accepted this way of life, but from what we've seen of the human world, humans wouldn't be so keen on this idea.
Yeah, that sounds pretty ridiculous. I suddenly felt a little scared. If I bound my soul to Sam, he'd be able to take my energy whenever he wanted. I knew he wouldn't abuse that, but it was still scary, no longer having a say in whether I wanted to or not. Did I want to bind my soul to him? I shook my head, putting the information in a mental folder before asking another question. It was not something I had to go through right now. I'd be able to think it over later. What's involved with the spell?
Well, it requires a lot of power and a bunch of things to perform the ritual correctly. Our moms, well, except for Damian's, all had to gather everything and perform it with their own energy because there was no one to cast the spell.
That's because our father was a misogynistic tyrant who demanded more than one partner.
Oh. Alright then.
Anyway, you need to have someone to cast the spell. Then you'd need to properly set the magic circle and temper the space. There's a lot you'd have to do.
Great. Now we're busy. A demon ritual to bind souls, all of it was intriguing to me, yet at the same time, I was concerned over the implied difficulty. Was something like that truly complicated? To bind two souls together, it was romantic in thought, but I guess difficult in process and execution. Sam really seemed passionate about the idea just from how frustrated he was in disagreeing with his brothers. I felt both flattered and worried. Damian walked over to me, obviously hearing my thoughts on the situation, and placed a hand on my shoulder.
Don't let this worry you. He'll talk to you about it when he's ready. I don't believe he fully knows what to do yet.
I helped pile the papers in a proper stack on the table, making them ready for the next time they were to be viewed. Before I escorted the boys out, Sam remained wherever he was, and didn't see his brothers off. Oh shit. After I closed the door, however, Sam appeared in the balcony above the lobby and began to descend the staircase.
Are they gone?
Indeed. Yeah, but they'll be back this... Oh, that's right, they don't live with us anymore. Man, I can't believe I forgot this quick. Sam sighed and ran his hand through his hair, letting his shoulders slouch forward. I thought he was going to say something.
This is ridiculous. Is wedding prep really this complicated?
Damn straight, dude. I could only nod before walking over and meeting him as he reached the bottom step. As he stepped off of it, I wrapped my arms around him and nuzzled his forehead, making him look into my eyes. It'll be worth it in the end when we're married. Sam smiled and wrapped his arms around my waist, nuzzling my forehead. I felt the deep love in his embrace, wanting to protect me from the world and all the dangers within it. He had protected me so many times with those arms that were wrapped around me.
If I get to be with you forever, then I guess it's worth the work, you doofus.
Okay, damn. You need to include that last part? Are we, like, immortal now or something? Because, forever might not be the right word, dude. As long as you'll have me, I'll be with you forever. That's cute. With a loving gaze, Sam lifted a hand from my waist and cupped my cheek. I nuzzled into the warmth of his palm and let out a loving sigh.
Hey, can we go somewhere tomorrow?
Sure, I guess. Where did you want to go? Thoughts of him going to the black market crossed my mind. That's what I was thinking, making me slightly worried as to where he wanted to go. Sam, however, looked at his feet.
Well, we already asked your folks and stuff about me marrying you, but there's one person I have to ask permission from.
Is it the Gramps? Are we gonna visit his grave? Who?
Your grandfather.
Oh, Gramps. Are we gonna summon him? Yo, that's gonna be BA, dude. I was shocked. He wanted to go to my grandfather's grave. Damian had explained that it had been my grandfather who had brought them over from the demon world, but I was still getting used to that idea. Sam continued to explain as I wrapped my head around the question.
I know I sound a little dumb, but he was kind of important to me and my brothers. He's the one who brought us here after all. It's only respectful if, I guess, I kinda ask for his blessing. I mean, it's dumb and we don't have to, but...
Well, it's not really dumb, because if they never came here, we would have never ended up with Sam here. No, we can, definitely. Tomorrow, around noon then. Sam stared in shock before he nodded with a smile.
All right.
Good. The thought of us going to visit grandfather's grave somehow made me feel happy instead of sad. We had both visited him before, but we weren't engaged then, and something felt special about this visit. Maybe it was because Sam was doing things right before marrying me. Who knew? We went to bed that night, settled in our plans for the following day. As morning arrived, we got dressed and were out of the house by the time the clock struck noon. It was a bright day, no one else was visiting, so Sam and I were alone in the cemetery. It was a little unnerving, but at the same time, it was nice to be able to spend time at Grandfather's grave alone with Sam. I would visit alone eventually, but for now, Sam took control of our visit. Sam sat down in front of the grave, crossing his legs, and stared at the stone slab that was my grandfather's gravestone. I followed suit, sitting beside him and placing a bouquet of colorful flowers beside the grave.
No matter how many times we come here, it's still so odd. I remember when we met almost like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's still strange. We both sat in comfortable silence, looking at the grave. It was strange remembering that 2 years ago I had met Sam and his brothers, literally the day after my grandfather had died. Now I was getting married to Sam. It was surreal, to say the very least. Sam straightened his back and cleared his throat, causing me to look at him in confusion.
So, Mr. Anderson, I hope that you're around to hear us and stuff. Your spirit, I mean. I'm fucking this up already.
What? I was confused. Why was he asking if my grandfather was there? He was buried under the earth and his spirit was probably in the afterlife. Maybe he knows more than we do, man. Sam took another breath.
I must sound like a complete jackass. You've given my brothers a chance to start new lives, and I can't ever thank you enough. Now, I'm asking for your granddaughter's hand. I must seem like a brat, huh?
I could only watch as Sam ran his hand through his messy hair, obviously deep in thought and formulating his words carefully before speaking. He didn't want to mess up, I could tell by the look in his face.
You've given us so much already. I want to be able to not only pay you back for giving my brothers better lives, but I want to be with your granddaughter for the rest of my life. As a demon, and as her husband. I promise to take care of her and love her for the rest of my life. I want to be with her and provide her with the life she deserves. I may be a demon, but I love her, and will do anything to protect her and keep her happy. Please, if you're here, I humbly ask for your blessing to marry your granddaughter.
As I stared at Sam, a gentle wind passed through the air and brushed over Sam's and my skin. It was out of place. The sun was out and I hadn't felt any breeze at all until just then. Huh? Grandfather? What? You just, assume? I guess you could assume. Another small breeze brushed over us, making me and Sam smile at the sensation. The wind was my grandfather's answer, and it was gentle enough to let us know that he was happy to see where we were and what we were planning to do. Sam let out a breath that he was holding in, now that he knew that my grandfather approved.
I won't let you down.
Awesome. I couldn't help a wide smile growing on my face. I was beyond overjoyed at this situation. If Grandfather really was there, I was happy to know that he approved of us. Still, the demon ritual remained in the back of my mind, softly prodding my thoughts as we returned home and worked on more wedding arrangements. It's really weird, first of all, it's really weird that he wants to bind his soul with ours because, the only benefit really is so he can take our energy. It's not like, you know what I mean? I guess he could protect us kind of because he'd always know where we are, but other than that, it kind of just benefits him if you think about it, if I understand it correctly anyway. I looked at Sam, now curious enough to bring up the question was, would I? I looked at Sam as he pored over a guest list. He was proficient with reading now, constantly learning in the past 2 years we had been together, so he was flying through with this work with ease. Still, I needed to break the silence. Sam, can I ask you something? Sam looked up from his work and sat up straight, rolling back his shoulders.
Yeah, sure, what's up?
Promise you won't be mad? Sam furrowed his eyebrows, now concerned with what I wanted to ask. I bit my lower lip, but he nodded, crossing his arms and leaning back against his chair. Oh, he's ready for this one, dude.
Go ahead.
Damn, you don't even know what I'm about to ask. If I was nervous before, I was even more nervous now. Well, you see, I looked down at the table hoping that the wooden surface would help me to find some way to form my thoughts. Once I was able to form my thoughts into words, I looked back to Sam. Why is having a demon marriage so important to you? Oh. Damn. He's so caught off guard right now, dude. Sam stared in shock at me. I knew I had thrown him off, but I needed to say it. I wanted him to explain and for us to discuss it. If it was something Sam wanted, I really wished to help him and possibly achieve it with him.
I told you about it.
I began to worry. Did I make him mad? Would he be furious at me for bringing it up? I watched as he ran both of his hands through his hair and let out a sigh.
Well, we're having a human marriage and stuff, and, well, I guess that
Sam bit his lip. shutting his eyes as he collected his thoughts. I waited patiently, wanting to know exactly what he felt. He then looked up at me with a sad, almost heartbroken look in his eyes.
I guess I just miss being a demon.
Oh, man. It's okay. You're still badass. But Sam, you are a demon.
That's not what I meant. I mean, yeah, I'm a demon, but am I really at this point? I work for a human police force. I live in the human world. I barely ever use my power, so it's like I'm not even a demon anymore. So I wanted to eventually ask you when the time was right to marry you demon style. Basically, I'd bind my soul to yours and yours to mine. That way, I'll always know when you're okay, and you'd be able to tell if I was too.
See, that's like, again, that's the only benefit I saw, but at the same time, he could still use it negatively if he wanted to, but I don't think he would, dude. But what about preparing the spell? Surely you have to arrange it somehow with spell components and whatever else. I can only imagine what soul binding requires.
That I hadn't gotten around to yet. I didn't want to do anything until I knew I could do it, but lately, I found out that it's impossible.
Can't we get like a courier or something to gather all the... I mean, I'm just speculating. We could probably get like a courier or something to gather all the ingredients and then send them through or something. I couldn't help but feel my lips droop into a frown. Sam seemed really bummed about not being able to pull off the ritual. It was a big deal, or so Sam emotionally suggested. Sam ruffled his own hair with his fingers, slightly growling under his breath, despite not looking at me. I could tell that he was angry with the situation.
The one chance I have to feel like how I really am, and I can't even do it.
Poor dude. I'm sorry. I felt terrible for bringing it up. Sam, however, shook his head and looked to me.
Look, don't worry about it and forget you ever heard anything, okay? We'll get married like normal, and we'll spend the rest of our lives together. We don't need a spell for that.
Alright, Sam. Sam nodded before going back to work, as I did. We had so much to do in a small amount of time. We worked the entire afternoon, trying to arrange as much as we could before the passing of time hit us like a wave. Dang, it's like, wow. I guess that's what you can expect, though. Dinner was extremely easy, but our focus was solely on the work at hand. The more work we could accomplish, the less stress we'd have to worry about later. Looking at Sam, I could tell he was exhausted. He had his head in his hands, trying to stay awake as he read over his notes and paperwork, I'm sure for the 5th or 6th time. I was fairly certain he was tired of reading. He always worked so hard and never failed to try and make everything we did the best moment of our lives. He deserved so much, and yet he fell in love with me, a simple human. Oh, come on. Oh, she's not giving herself enough credit here, man. I had no way to repay him except for loving him back and giving him everything I could. Though there was one thing. My mind traveled to a small bachelorette gift Suzu and Naomi had sent me when they first heard the news. It was lingerie to be used during our honeymoon, so it was simply sitting folded up neatly in a box under the bed. Oh my goodness. I looked at Sam again, my libido giving me the idea of possibly surprising him and making his night. Oh my god. Well, okay. Another part of my brain told me not to bother with it. That gift was for the honeymoon, so it should be preserved as much. But it was a gift, and it was given to me so I could essentially do what I want with it. My libido fought with my logic over the subject as I slightly fawned at the idea of making hot love to Sam or saving the rough night for the honeymoon. Well, I mean, you're gonna have a rough night on the honeymoon anyway. Can't you just like go get some more lingerie? Was I going to do it though? I mean, okay, this isn't gonna go that far. Okay, let's be honest. We're not gonna. This is just a demo, right? So it really doesn't matter. I think we'll just for the sake of, you know, it being a demo, I think if this was the real game, I'd say don't. But just for the sake that it's a demo, we're gonna do it. Yeah, it probably has a part to do with that I'm a guy as well. But either way, let's just go ahead and do it anyway. The more I looked at Sam, the more my inner desire began to burn and light my core on fire. Maybe it was because of his incubus aura, or maybe it was because I loved him that much. It didn't matter. I had to get to the room first and change before Sam came in. If this was going to work, then I needed it to be a surprise. Oh my goodness. I let out a small yawn and stood up, breaking Sam out of his concentration. Hey, I'm going to get ready for bed. Mind cleaning everything up for me? Well, yeah, okay. So he's doing a little bit of extra work so he gets a surprise later. I get it.
Sure.
We probably sound like such a dick right now. I knew that his exhaustion would hold him back from using his power for a speed boost, so I had a little while to change and surprise him. I smiled and walked over and kissed his cheek before walking out of the dining room. Oh my goodness. As I reached the lobby, I began to hustle up the stairs into the bedroom. I needed all the time I could get. I quickly stripped out of my clothes and opened the box Suzu and Naomi had sent me, seeing an emerald green and black bra with matching panties. It looked incredibly sexy, and I couldn't wait to see Sam's face when he saw me in it. Oh my goodness. As I thought of Sam, I couldn't help but feel a shiver run up my spine. His touches and his love were intoxicating. This was the least I could do for him. Oh my gosh. His scent was intoxicating, and his eyes were endless traps for me to get lost in. His arms were my castle, and his heart was my timekeeper. Damn. He alone made my world perfect, and I could no longer imagine my life without him. I heard Sam's heavy, tired footsteps as they hit the stairs, forcing me to rush while I hid the box, hid my clothes, and grabbed my black robe to cover myself. As he opened the door, I turned to face the window. What if it's somebody else?
Hey, you ready for?
Oh boy. Sam stopped. I was certain that me facing away from him in my black robe surprised him into silence, so I looked over my shoulder at him. I needed to seduce him, like he seduced me. So I needed to release my inner temptress. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I slowly turned around, carefully formulating what I wanted to do for him, and looked deep into his eyes, despite the distance between us. Sit down. Oh my god. Well, I mean, me saying it doesn't really do it justice. It sounds like kind of weird. Like, sit down. Mesmerized, Sam slowly made his way towards the bed, not breaking the gaze between us, and sat down in silence. Was he gonna be obedient? Oh my. I moved to the fireplace, knowing that it only took a couple of clicks to turn on music through my TV. As if Lady Luck was on my side, the tune that began to play from it was a slow, sensual song. Score. I looked at Sam as I slowly let the robe slide down off my body, revealing what was underneath it. Sam's eyes instantly dilated at the sight, and his chest heaved in both surprise and desire. Well, I channeled every ounce of sexuality I had in my body as I slid the robe away from me with my foot and ran my hands up my sides. Damn, okay, this is... damn. Sam, you've done so much for me.
Yeah?
He doesn't even know what to say, dude. I want to show you how much I care for you, and I want to thank you. Sam stared as I began swaying my hips to the beat of the song, floating through the air. Sam's eyes traveled up and down my body as I ran my hands through my hair before bringing them down my shoulders and over my breasts. This is a very detailed. This is way more detailed than the other one. This is crazy, man. How was I able to do this with a straight face? I would never be able to figure it out, but I went with it, walking to Sam and leaning forward a bit to hover my lips over his. As Sam leaned in to kiss me, I pulled back a bit and held a finger over his lips. Okay, dude. Damn, she is like playing hard to get here. Can't touch me until I say so. That includes kissing me. Oh. I could tell that every nerve in Sam's body and mind was firing just from looking into his lust-filled eyes. He was drowning in need, wanting to ravish me simply from what I had already done. How much farther could I push him? I wanted to find out. I'm kind of sweating a bit. Sam obeyed, keeping his hands by his sides on the bed and biting his lower lip to maintain some control over himself. It was actually rather refreshing to see him like this. I wouldn't make him wait long, however. I leaned back towards him, hovering my lips over his as he stared deep into my eyes. He wanted to kiss me, however. He remains still for me. Perfect. My hands began to reach for him and slowly began to remove the Letterman jacket and undershirt from his body. His glistening skin and the minimal light in the room had me licking my lips at the sight. He really was handsome. Even more than that, he was all mine. Only I was allowed to do this to him, to touch him, to kiss him, to make love to him. Damn, this is hardcore, man. Knowing that I needed to prod him a bit further, I slowly walked over to him. Standing directly in front of him, however, as I turned my back to him, I could feel his growl against my back, making me repress a shiver. The beast was slowly coming out. Oh my gosh. I swayed my hips even more, bending slightly to have my rear dance over his lap without actually sitting down on it. He's getting a lap dance right now, most definitely. I had never really imagined I would give someone, let alone him, a lap dance. His heavy breath against my back let me know that I was working to help build his desire. I smirked before rolling my hips in a circle, purposefully making my... Dude, I literally, I'm so done, dude. Purposely making my ass ever so slightly brush over his groin. I saw ass and groin. Like, I just saw that. I was like, oh my god, dude. All right, I was rewarded with a growl, which made my smirk widen. Almost there. Jeez. I continued to roll my hips in circles, straddling his lap while my back hovered barely an inch from Sam's chest. I slowly felt myself become hot at the dance, needing him to touch me and ravish me already. Damn, she is going in, man. I was right. I was right in the previous episode. We are a savage, dude. It wasn't James. We're the savage. Jeez. However, the goal was to make him break, not for me to command him. I quickly turned around, straddling his lap and pressing my knees down onto the mattress as I met Sam's gaze. His eyes were shifting back and forth between gold and green just a little more. I placed my hands on Sam's shoulders before rolling my hips forward, letting it rub and grind against the heated bulge in his pants. Oh my god, I ran my nails over the back of his neck and pressed my chest to his, hovering my lips over his mouth once again. Sam, do you want me? Sam couldn't even speak a word. He was very quietly growling through his teeth. Irritated that he couldn't touch me upon my demand. However, his eyes spoke volumes of his lust for me. The final breaking point. I finally pushed forward and took his lips in mine, kissing him deeply. My core was on fire and I needed him to break. I bit his lower lip, knowing that while it would show my power over him, it would very quickly be overturned. As Sam's hands gripped my ass, I gasped in surprise, melting at the sensation of him grabbing a cheek in each hand. Well, this is like literotica, like straight up. It's like a step away from literotica. I'm not even kidding. I let out a hot moan against his lips as Sam pushed back against my mouth with his own needy lips. He pulled my waist tightly against him, grinding his hips into mine and letting me know how very hot he was as he came to learn just how hot I was for him. Wow. I let another moan rumble against his lips before I felt Sam pull my legs to wrap them around his waist. My arms circled Sam's neck as he stood up, lifting me with him, and I continued to make love to his mouth with mine. He kept his hands on my rear, massaging each cheek roughly as he turned around and climbed over onto the bed on his knees. Sam fell forward, pressing me down on the bed as he ground his lips in between my legs. Wait, what? Oh, his hips. Okay. I read that a bit wrong. His hips in between my legs against my already burning desire. As I moved my arms, he quickly moved his hand from my ass and grabbed my wrists, pinning them to the bed beside my head. Oh, geez. Sam pulled away and looked down at me, eyes gold with need in preparation for an enthrallment spell. What? His enthrallment over me was part of our sex. No matter how gentle or rough it was, it made each touch, each movement, and each dance 10 times more explosive and pleasurable. Damn. Alright. I felt warmth take over my body as Sam finally began to enthrall me, making me moan at how the heat made my core and desire scream to be relieved.
Don't move.
Oh, well then. I nodded, muling in desire but agreeing to his demand. The tables had turned and I was ready to receive him however he wanted to have me. Damn. Sam, with almost insane speed, removed his pants and underwear, leaving him bare over me.
I'm not gonna hold back tonight.
What the fuck is this? Okay, what is this? Dude, this is okay, you are taking it to the next level, okay? You are taking it to the next level. He's not holding back tonight. Okay, apparently he was holding back the other nights. Damn. I hoped you wouldn't. Oh my god, such a savage. Sam smirked before gripping my wrist, making me gasp again at the sensation.
Maybe I really am a brute.
I purred at the sight of his gaze. He seemed to be full of carnal passion without restraint or desire to hold back. It was so alluring and delicious to see the lust in his eyes. Sam finally leaned down and claimed my lips, making hot love with them with his own as I moaned. His grip on my wrist tightened as he pressed his chest against mine. I could feel his heart pounding against my chest in rhythm with my own quickened pulse. His hands slowly released my wrist, knowing that I would keep them there. Before trailing down my arms and tracing every curve of my body, he purred in delight with the shivers that ran through me at his touch. Can we switch scenes? This is it's kind of making me a bit uncomfortable. It wasn't long before he had removed, almost ripped apart, my lingerie and pressed his nude body to mine. The warmth of our bodies made the air that much more heated, but also that much more sexual. Love burned our eyes as we gazed at each other, and I was left moaning and reeling at Sam touching and caressing every part of my body. I became his to ravish, and he was mine to love and feel ecstasy with. As we finally made love, Time became forgotten. Our sex was rough, hot, and crazed, wild like two beasts craving each other's touches and sounds. This is like, whoa, this is crazy, dude. The bed creaked loudly with our lovemaking, and the sound was only accompanied by the sensual music that played on repeat. The slaps of skin between us. Dude, this is literally literotica. I'm not even kidding. It's like literally there at this point. And the moans that fell from our lips. It's actually probably a little bit more. It's like soft literotica, but you have visuals. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. We quickly became louder than the music, but we barely noticed. All we cared about was how we made each other feel as we reached for each other's release. We're lucky we don't have neighbors, bro. I mean, straight up, we are lucky. His emerald eyes bored into mine as we became lost in the pleasure between us, which was heated, crazed, wild, rough, and full of love. I can only stare back, needing to see him as I felt him. As he professed his love for me, I felt myself reel and rush faster towards the last strings holding me together. As it broke, I gripped Sam and gave every ounce of love I had through a love profession of my own mixed with a hot and loud scream. Jesus, dude. We both drifted through a white, blissful glow of ecstasy and release, grasping at each other and not wanting to let go. All right. His arms enveloped me and held me to his body as I circled my arms around his neck and nuzzled into his shoulder. We were both very exhausted and very much full of love.
I love you. I love you so much. You doofus.
Sure you do after that one. Jesus. I love you too, Sam. Oh my God. I practically purred as Sam ran his hand over my hair and back, soothing me into a peaceful sleep. The warmth of his skin and the hum of relief that washed over my body helped me drift to slumber at last. Thank God that picture's gone. I mean, I'm sure many women out there were loving that one, but that was a bit uncomfortable for me, to be honest. I felt myself drift through the darkness of slumber, both at peace and enjoying the warmth around me that it brought. I was tranquil, unable to feel anything but bliss. I love that I often had the chance to experience this kind of sleep, which was good since I was stressed about the upcoming wedding. I needed proper rest. And after that, you'll get some. However, as I floated through the dark, I could faintly hear the sounds of fire swelling around me. I looked around through the dark, unable to see anything but blackness. What the? Slowly, the noise began to grow louder and louder, unrelenting in its crescendo. I almost had to cover my ears from the sheer volume.
You think you can stop me, boy?
That's the dude! Oh my. As I blinked, the dark around me shifted into a burning room. Flames touched every inch I could see, and in the midst of it all were Sam and his father, the Demon Lord. They were both wounded, but both were standing tall, confident as ever.
I will kill you, old man! I want to see you try. You don't even have the strength to save your precious human!
No! What? Before I could figure out what he meant, I felt an immense pain in my chest as something ripped through my back and stabbed through me. Sam turned towards me, horrified at what he saw, and I looked down to see a blade sticking out of my sternum. No! I couldn't even emit a whimper of pain as endless agony surged through my body, wrecking my nerves and distorting my vision. I could barely make out Sam arcing back to scream at the sky. Large flame-like wings erupted from his back. Oh shit, he's pissed. Damn, dude. However, I felt my body give into the pain and my vision turned black. I felt waves of agony crash into my body over and over as I remained on the edge of death. When I was finally able to open my eyes, I could barely make out Sam kneeling over me, resting my head on his knees as tears ran down his face.
No. This can't be happening. No.
Dude, what the frick? From the look on his face, I really was dying. How could this be? Why was this happening? His hands quaked in disbelief as he ran one along my cheek and used the other to hold my shoulders. I stared up at him, gasping for air as blood seeped over my skin. I was dying. I felt it. I knew it. Sam wept but continued to stare down at me, trying to keep me awake and alive with his touch. However, I felt that I wasn't going to last much longer. I winced at the pain and reached an arm up to Sam, touching his cheek. Sam. Sam shook his head violently, not wanting me to use my energy to speak. I grimaced at the pain, but Sam continued to cry. My heart whimpered at the sight of his tears falling down his cheeks.
Please, no. I love you. Please stay with me. No.
Oh, poor guy, man. Sam, I love you. I wanted to wake up, but I didn't have the strength to fight this illusion. I became lost in the pain that was pinning my body down and draining me of life.
I can't lose you! Please! Please. I love you.
Who took me out, man? Who crossed me off the list? My chest wouldn't allow me to breathe it anymore. All I could do was exhale my last breath and close my eyes. Oh. Damn, that's legit right there, dude. Whoa. At his scream, I finally awoke, sitting up in bed and finally being able to fully breathe again. I panted, feeling the need for fresh air to circulate through my lungs and chest. I ran my hand over my chest, feeling no marks and knowing that I was indeed alive and awake. That must have felt weird. Like, I know it was a dream, but like, that sounded real as shit, to be honest. But what of Sam? I looked to the side to see him sound asleep, lost in his dreams, which seemed to be peaceful just from the look on his face. I let out a quiet sigh, closing my eyes and looking to the ceiling. It was just a dream, nothing more. It was merely a nightmare. I experienced them all the time. The more I thought of it, the more I could sense the fantasy of it. I was okay. We were okay. I ran a hand through my hair before lying back down, knowing that I would find solace in Sam's arms. As if by instinct, Sam wrapped both of his strong arms around my form and I cuddled against his chest. We were fine. We were going to be fine. At last, the wedding day arrived. We had prepared all that we could, and everything was in order. Sam, wanting to follow human tradition and not seeing the bride before the wedding, headed to the venue to change into his tux. I, however, was alone. I didn't ask for Naomi or Suzu to help, and honestly didn't want them to. I needed to be alone before my wedding, so I got dressed and made myself into the perfect bride all on my own, in my own mansion. I stared at myself, seeing exactly what I wanted to see in the reflection. I looked exactly how I wanted to look on my wedding day. I smiled, unable to shake the feeling of happiness from my body. I'm getting married. I let out a small sigh as relief washed over my nervous mind. Everything was going to be fine. As I heard a car honking outside, I felt nervousness creep inside once again. I shook my head. I needed to relax. I grabbed the things I needed and rushed out, entering a white limousine. It was set to bring me to the venue, but I stopped the driver before he began to drive off. Can we stop somewhere first? The driver agreed, and I guided him towards the cemetery my grandfather was buried at. It had been 2 years since he passed away. My personal visits to his grave has become fewer as time went on, but I had never stopped going. Today, though, was an incredibly happy day. I was so full of emotion, I couldn't help but visit his gravestone. After all, I was about to marry a demon. No big deal. I was about to marry the man of my dreams, and I wanted to stop there before going to the wedding venue to talk to my grandfather. I'm pretty sure I looked odd in that cemetery wearing a wedding dress. However, I really didn't mind. I needed to come regardless. I stood by the grave, staring down at it with a smile. I'm getting married today, Grandpa. The wind gently danced around me as if Grandfather ushered it to reply. My smile grew brighter, and I let out a sigh. I couldn't lie. I wanted my grandfather to be at my wedding, but I couldn't go back in time, even if I was able to. How could I have stopped him from dying? I shook my head. I didn't want to think of that. Not on the day of my wedding. I hope you'll be there in spirit, Gramps. I'm sure you will. Oh, what the heck? Before I could continue my sentence, the sky suddenly became dark, causing me to look up. Rain began to fall and patter against the stone and grass as a haunting bell began to chime. What boggled my mind was the fact that the rain was avoiding my body. What? It was like I was in a safe circle, underneath an invisible umbrella so that the rain couldn't soak me or my dress. Yo, that's pretty sick. What the? Was this Grandfather's doing? Why was it raining all of a sudden? The rain became heavy and I didn't dare move from my spot, afraid of what would happen. I looked at his grave, confused and concerned. He's like crying, I guess. Maybe that's him crying. My eyes locked onto the gravestone. This wasn't a natural storm. Magic was at work here. My heart gave a quick squeeze in reply to my conclusion, but the word magic reverberated in my mind. Magic. I looked down and lifted my hands to scan over my gloved palms. My fingers began to tingle, almost as if that single word had unlocked something. Magic. Wait, what was happening? I gently pinched the edge of the glove on my hand with 2 fingers and it slid off, revealing my bare skin. Nothing had changed, but I could feel that something was different. I could faintly feel energy zipping through the nerves under my skin, dancing in excitement at the word magic. I wonder. I knew Diana had taken away my energy and my magic before she left, but what if? What if I still had some left? I raised my hand to the sky and focused on the back of my hand. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had to see something. My mind quickly formed a word in my mind. I didn't know where it came from, but I let it fly with my lips as a soft whisper. Deseno. As soon as the sound of that word rose into the air, the rain around me suddenly froze as if time had stopped. Yo, that is sick. The wind was still slightly blowing, but the rain had stopped. That must look so cool, like all the rain just around you. That must look sick. I slowly lowered my hand and looked around. Did I really do this? Before I could move again. Oh, I see. Never mind. Okay, it stopped. I thought it just like froze in midair. I would have been sick. The raindrops and the stormy clouds above began to fade away, returning to the sunny weather it had before. I looked around and noticed that the grass and the gravestone were all dry as if the rain hadn't even fallen in the first place. That was...
I knew it. I knew it. That girl has demon magic.
What? Where are you? Who is that? What the?
Then quit talking and let's take her.
Oh, it's that dude. Okay, so this... Okay, apparently we had some sort of premonition, because now it's coming true.
The Demon Lord will be so pleased.
Shit! Who? Before I could turn to search for the voices, I felt hands grab hold of my feet, and I looked down and lifted my dress. They're under there? That's kind of weird. 2 pairs of evil-looking hands had taken hold of my ankles, reaching through a dark red and purple pentagram. I shrieked, trying to pull my legs away, but couldn't stop them as they swiftly pulled me into the ground. I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that I couldn't escape. I reached out and clawed at the dark, trying to find something to grab onto. I tried to pull my legs away from the hands that were holding them, but couldn't pull free. What was going on? Why was this happening? Someone help me. As if someone had heard my screams, I suddenly felt the hands let go and disappear, leaving me to float in the darkness they left me in. I shut my eyes. Please let this be a dream. Please let this be a dream. I finally felt a surface under my feet, and I collapsed onto it, my body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop. It was the Demon Lord. It bet you anything.
You.
Oh,
what are you doing here?
Never mind. I looked up, finally having the courage to take in my surroundings. My heart stopped beating for a moment, seizing in my chest. Diana! You have no shirt! I recognized I looked up to see up to 5 figures, strangers, monsters, beings that I hadn't recognized. They all looked down at me in surprise, as if I had dropped in at a very bad time. That one on the right looks kind of crazy. One man looked like an orc from a fantasy game without the tusks. He had broken horns and a very frightening aura around him as he stared at me. The other male was lanky in comparison, more human-like, but I could almost feel power emanating from him regardless. One of the women who was staring at me had rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. They twitched on top of her head as she looked at me and gripped her staff. She seemed harmless, yet she had animal ears. The one creature that I couldn't discern the sex of seemed more excited to see me than surprised. What freaked me out about them was that they had wings sticking out from her back, and they were floating. The last woman, however, set off alarm bells in my head as I looked at her surprised face, her hair, her eyes. Diana. We meet at last, again. Wait, I thought she... Is that like a boob on her back? What is that? As she stared, the woman turned her body towards me in recognition to the name I called her. It was her.
What are you doing here?
Diana walked towards me and stared down at me. It was odd. She didn't look like a human, but yet I was afraid of her demon form as it towered over me. I was more in shock as to what was going on. Whoa. Before Diana could speak further, most likely to repeat herself, a figure quickly stepped up and bowed to her, kneeling beside me.
My lady, please forgive me. I felt something moving between our worlds and assumed the Demon Lord was to blame, so I intercepted his summoning of this human.
Oh, thank goodness.
You. So I wasn't the only one who felt the change in the air.
Diana stared at the man kneeling beside me as I kept my eyes up at her. As she turned her gaze back to me, I gulped silently. What was she going to do with me? This all felt wrong. I was about to be married. I was about to live my happily ever after with the man I loved. Now I was in a place I didn't know with Diana and a bunch of other creatures I didn't recognize. My instinct was to, well, I don't want to scream. These two sound kind of bitch-made. I don't want to attack either. Let's just stay still. I couldn't move. My mind was empty of emotions except for fear. Why was this happening? Where was I? Why was Diana here? Diana stared down at me before sighing and kneeling down to my level. As she settled onto her knees, I leaned away from her, unsure of what she'd do. Was she going to kiss me again and take my energy? Knowing her, maybe.
Can you tell me what happened?
Oh, she cares now? Sure. I honestly, I'm sorry, I cannot... never mind. It's an illusion, everyone. It looked like some sort of lump, okay? That looked like a back boob. I don't really understand. Anyway, we're moving on. I didn't want to speak. I felt no courage, too. My mind was so wrapped around this chaos that I felt nothing but fear and anxiousness. This couldn't have been happening. I was dreaming.
Is she okay?
No, I'm not.
I don't think so.
That one's smart.
This is a waste of our time. Just kill her or something.
Well, you're not making a very good impression.
Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
I like that guy. I do. Diana continued to stare at me, waiting for me to answer. Why? She didn't cast a spell on me, nor did she attack me. She continued to wait and stare. Slowly, my mind began to sink into the situation. Diana was willing to listen. Was she willing to help? Was that another question? But first, I had to answer her. My voice didn't want to answer still, so I forced myself to nod, wanting to answer her somehow. Diana smiled softly, which conflicted with my memories of her. She never smiled like that, yet she was now. Diana held out her hand, ushering me to take it.
Can you stand?
I nodded again and took her hand, standing up at last. I looked around at the other beings in the room. They all kept their gaze to me, unsure of what I would do or say. Diana, however, led the conversation.
First, can you tell me what happened to you?
Darn tootin'. I took a breath, recounting everything that happened. I was about to go to the church to be married, and then I was attacked by this darkness. A couple of hands grabbed my legs and pulled me into it, and then I fell here.
A shadow summoning.
Apparently. Diana turned to one of the beings, the lanky male, and glared.
One of yours couldn't have.
On my honor, it wasn't any of mine. We have nothing to gain from kidnapping a human, nor do we know who this woman is anyhow.
My lady, if I may, I clearly remember hearing imp demons in the void along with her. It must have been the Demon Lord's henchmen.
Those damnable creatures. That explains it.
Diana crossed her arms and looked to me again.
Well, dear, it seems that you were to be either a new harem girl for the Demon Lord to ravish, or bait for the boys to return to their father's side.
Well.
Either way, I doubt you would have lived long had the Demon Lord gotten his hands on you.
Well, thank goodness, right? A violent shiver ran up my spine. Was it true? I would have died?
Wait a minute. This girl knows about the Demon Lord's heirs?
Yeah, we're besties, kind of.
Yes.
Well, I'm marrying one.
Hilariously enough, she was set to marry one of them, as you can see from her garb.
My garb. As Diana motioned towards my dress, I realized how vulnerable I was and felt extremely self-conscious. I wrapped my arms around myself as Diana let out a sigh.
Well, since you do not belong here, the obvious thing to do is to send you home.
Thank you. I thought we would never reach that point of the conversation. I just want to go home. I couldn't help but stare wide-eyed at Diana. Was she really going to send me home? Really? I couldn't believe my ears. You will really send me back?
Of course. It should be easy to do once everything is in order. It'll be like you never left the human world.
Wait, like never left the human world? What do you mean by left the human world? Diana stared before chuckling softly and gesturing to the room of beings within it. How are we? This is kind of obvious, okay? These dudes ain't normal. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just pointing this out.
Dear, do you not realize where you are? You are in the demon world.
Delicious. My mind went blank. It couldn't be. I couldn't be in the demon world. No way in hell. Or hell. I suppose. I felt myself back up against the wall behind me, suddenly afraid. I was in another world. How? That was impossible. Diana stepped towards me, both of her hands softly trying to show she meant no harm as she positioned them in front of her body.
Do not panic. We will send you back now, so there's nothing to worry about.
Got you, man.
How will you power the spell? Bringing someone here is no easy task, but sending someone back consumes much more energy.
You look like you got some magic.
I'll use what energy I have now and rest. We can organize the siege another time when I fully recover. It's not like the Demon Lord can escape the corner we've trapped him in, so we do have some time to spare.
She's willing to do that? Damn.
You'd waste time and energy on this human. We must strike now while the Demon Lord is weakened.
Dang.
But the human doesn't belong here. She needs to go home.
The one on the right, for some reason, reminds me of, what is that show, man? Sword Art Online. That really reminds me of that for whatever reason. Pretty cool.
Shall I prepare the return spell?
Yes, please. Snap, snap, please.
Do.
Chop, chop.
I grant you permission to use my energy to power the spell.
With a nod, the lanky man held out his hand towards the wall. I looked over in the direction it was aimed at. What the? Diana's shadow? I watched as Diana's shadow simply stood against the wall, mirroring the movements of the real incubus in the room. Before my eyes, the shadow began to morph and expand on the wall on its own. Oh, you good? I looked back to Diana to see her wrapping her arms around herself and curling her shoulders over, as if she was in pain. Her nails embedded themselves into her forearms, and I could barely make out a painful hiss escape her clenched teeth. Was the spell hurting her that badly? Oh! I turned back to the wall to see Diana's shadow shaking and vibrating as if it was resisting the change the man was forcing on it.
You will obey my command. Open the gates to the void, and allow passage to the world we seek.
Oh, damn, all right.
Transitum perenam peto tranibris. Ubi aperiut. Iano ium. Decidir.
Something's happening. Oh, there we go. Portal. Upon Diana's final word, her shadow burst and expanded into an oval-shaped doorway. I stared wide-eyed at the passage before a hand placed itself on my shoulder, forcing me to look over. The one with the spear gently pressed my shoulder forward and looked down at me with almost a stern face.
You must leave now. The faster you leave, the quicker we can close the void.
Okay, we got a haul ass, man.
Go! Go! Go get married!
Thank you. Thank you, fairy lady. I appreciate it. I quickly nodded and lifted the bottom of my dress, stepping forward to make a run for the passageway. However, before I could bolt towards my freedom, a snarl echoed through the room.
How dare you interfere with my summoning!
Yo, dive through that portal! No! At that very moment, Dinah began to scream, arcing her spine and throwing her head back. Around her body were red-tinted bolts of lightning, flashing and shocking her form.
No!
Oh, shit.
Human! Use the passage! Now!
Yeah, we need to haul ass, dude. He didn't have to tell me twice. I bolted towards the portal, diving forward as I neared it, but I was forced back by a burst of energy and a flash of red light. I fell to the floor, almost slamming my head into the stone.
A human will never, ever leave this world alive!
Oh, no!
Use mindless worm!
We're in a shitstorm.
Close the portal! The Demon Lord might get through!
But the human...
Close it!
Damn. As commanded, the man pulled his hand back, visually forcing his arm back behind his body, and Diana's shadow quickly began to morph back into a simple shadow. The electricity around Diana faded away, and she began to tip forward. The man with the spear dropped his weapon and caught Diana in his arms, cradling her to his body as she panted and gasped for air.
I don't sense the Demon Lord anywhere.
The worm has to scurry through the shadows to try and fight back. He'll be dead soon enough.
Dang, dude.
How is she, guard?
Diana seemed to look uninjured, but her body was twitching from the aftermath of the magical attack. Her visible eye was shut tight as she dug her fingers into the guard's jacket to cling to him. As her eye opened, I saw not only blood ruby red color, but I saw a cold and unfriendly golden color painted over her iris. Her mouth opened as she panted for air, and I could see hunger in her facial expression, but she continued to stare at the wall, not wanting to make eye contact with anyone.
There are no physical wounds, but she's been weakened. I must give her my energy so she can recover.
The man swiftly moved and hooked an arm underneath Diana's knees, lifting her up bridal style as she clung to his jacket, shivering. The spear that had fallen to the floor faded into black and purple mist as he quickly left the room with her in his arms. My mind, however, began to panic. I couldn't go home? Why was I being forced to stay? Damn the Demon Lord, this wasn't right.
There's an imp in the castle. That is the only way the Demon Lord could have been able to interfere.
You gotta find that imp and take him out, man. Cross that imp off the list.
Guards by the door! Hunt it down!
Poor imp, he's getting taken. A pair of guards that were apparently by the door saluted the one commanding them and ran off. I felt out of place, alone, terrified as what was going to happen. The Demon Lord wanted me here, and his words pounded at my mind. How was I going to get home? Would I ever be able to get home? I looked up to see the winged person hovering near me before they moved and sat on their knees on the stone ground beside me.
We'll get you home, okay? Diana just needs a little rest, okay?
Yeah, I hope that's all she needs, man. She doesn't sound like she was too good.
She needs more than rest. She needs to use a different spell to send her back. The Demon Lord will expect her to use the shadow spell again.
How about the normal way? I'm sure we can connect to a witch, or even the warlock she used before, to reopen a portal to the human world.
I don't know about that.
The warlock she used to get to the human world died, remember? And he was the most powerful warlock in the human world. Practically a god himself.
Are you kidding?
What other human could be used to open a portal without another human dying?
Craziness.
It was merely a suggestion. The faster we get this human home, the faster we can move on and finish off the Demon Lord.
Well, what are we going to do with the human now?
We can give her a room to rest in. Humans need sleep after all. Maybe by the time she wakes up, we'll think of a solution.
Come.
The woman with rabbit ears looked down at me and lowered her hand to me, inviting me to take it. She had a kind but concerned expression on her face, so I trusted her. I slowly took her hand and began to stand up as the fairy figure brushed off the small patches of dust that had accumulated on my dress. I couldn't do anything. I was forced to listen to the beings around me because there was nothing else I could do. Without them, I couldn't get home. My heart ached, but I had to accept my predicament.
Here, I'll bring you to the open ambassador's room. You are free to rest there for now.
What about Diana, though? As mean as she was before, she seemed pretty damn nice to us this time. What about her? The floating person giggled softly as the woman with rabbit ears cleared her throat.
She'll be fine. She's being taken care of right now.
You know, I was gonna say something when they just both went that way, when they both just, went to another room to rest. Yeah, I don't think it's like demons to just rest, especially after what we experienced the other night.
Why not just say she's getting fucked?
Oh, all right, okay. Dang, you're a very blunt gentleman, aren't you? Dang, Jesus.
And the brute strikes again with the lack of tasteful filtering between his brain and his mouth. You still have yet to prove me wrong about my expectations of you.
Oh, she is getting some. Dang.
Keep testing me, assassin. I'm not afraid to rip your spine out of your body and use it as a back scratcher.
That's just delicious.
You can very well try, brute.
Dang, dude. These guys are going at it.
Ugh! Would you both knock it off?
Come, everything will be taken care of.
I kept my eyes down, trying to take in more of the situation I was in. I was trapped in the demon world and Diana was out of commission. Quote unquote. The demon lord had plans for me, but what exactly was he aiming for? I could have been bait, I could have been revenge, I didn't know, nor could I figure it out now. At least I was safe. At least I hoped I was safe. Dang, that is a pretty ridiculous bed. The woman led me to a room that practically screamed medieval fantasy. Everything was clean, but it still had that old age feel, as if no one had ever stepped foot in the room until that moment.
Rest here for now. When Diana is well again, we can discuss what to do.
Thank you. I nodded to the woman before she gently curtsied and left, closing the door behind her. I took a moment to observe my surroundings, interested in understanding the aesthetic. This was fantasy turned into reality. It was like I had gone back in time. Why, though? Was the demon world really that behind in the times, or did magic supersede technology, and this was the result? Despite the situation I was in, which was beyond heartbreaking and terrible, my curiosity began to fester in my mind as if I was given a golden opportunity to learn something new. However, my thoughts began to drift, and I felt myself becoming weak and dizzy, no doubt from the shock and trauma I had gone through. I stumbled towards the bed, needing to sit down and let everything settle in without passing out. As my rear hit the mattress, however, I let out a small, pleasured sigh. Holy crap, this is a comfy mattress. I felt myself fall back, and my entire body simply melted into the softness beneath my body. It was like I was sleeping on a cloud. Was that possible? Demon magic may have had something to do with it, but I was certain that I was drifting into almost a blissful sleep just by lying on the blankets and mattress. Not caring that I was still in my dress, I closed my eyes and drifted to sleep. I needed to rest, since Diana wouldn't be available for a while anyway. Oh my, Diana. Eventually, I did rise from my sleep, somehow fully refreshed and calm. How could that have been?
Did you have a good rest?
I'm sure you did. I turned my head to see Diana at the door, arms crossed and leaning against the door's archway. She had a look of concern and pure curiosity on her face as she awaited my answer. Let's talk about her. Do you know how to knock? What? Diana stared at me slightly shocked. Did she not expect me to ask?
Huh. Well, yes, I'm fine now that I've had proper rest.
Proper rest. That's good. Diana shook her head and stepped into the room, closing the door behind her.
So we need to find another way to get you back to the human world. It won't be easy, but I believe it can be done by tonight at the latest.
That's pretty damn early, dude. Tonight, really? Diana nodded and crossed her arms again, leaning on one hip.
It will take time to get our shadow agents to gather the necessary supplies, but they are not hard to obtain, being that we're in a position of power. You must be lucky.
So are you. You seemed really, worried about fighting this demon lord. What do you mean? The fuck? Diana, oh, that's the battlefield? Diana sighed before casting a short spell under her breath. In front of me appeared a floating map, almost like a hologram. It showed me an entire world with mountains, plains, and forests, and it all was surrounded by sea and water. Diana pointed at a marker that had a purple banner at its tip. It was marked in the center of some mountain and forest area. It was also the very center of the map.
That is where we are currently, the center of the abyssal plains.
Yo. Diana then ran her finger in a circle around the marker, showing a perimeter around
Everything we need for the spell is within this area. It will just take time to gather the materials and prepare it.
I nodded, understanding the situation. I was going to hopefully be able to go home tonight, which was better than not going home at all. So, what should I do then, until then?
My suggestion? Stay in this room. I can mark this room as off limits so that no demon may enter that would confuse you for an intruder and kill you.
Do I look like an intruder? I gulped. I did not want to die. As Diana made the magical map disappear, she shrugged.
However, I cannot stop you from whatever you wish to do. Just don't leave the castle.
True that. I nodded as she turned to leave. As she stepped out, Diana looked back to me with a reassuring look.
We'll get you back to the human world. I promise you that.
Staying in my room was the best option for me, both so that I wouldn't get lost and that I'd be okay in case the guards were on duty. I let out a small sigh before looking around the room. Was there anything I wanted to look at closer?
Excuse me.
This is my room. What are you doing here? Before I could find anything, I looked to the door towards the voice. Peeking in was the rabbit woman, cautiously remaining behind the door while looking at me.
Are you feeling okay?
Peachy Keen? Yeah, I am, thanks. Please come in. I trusted this woman despite barely knowing her. She assisted me in coming to this room and she was one of Diana's comrades, so I felt that I could put my trust in her. The woman nodded before stepping into the room and closing the door behind her. She turned to me and stood by the door.
I'm assuming Diana told you about the situation.
Yeah, I'll be back home tonight. That's the hope anyway.
Yes. We sent our agents as soon as we knew what we had to gather. We're positive they will turn up before nightfall and we'll be able to cast a gateway spell.
As long as they don't get taken. I nodded and let out a small sigh. It would be a long wait, but it would be worth it if it worked. The woman, however, took a step forward.
May I ask you something?
Shoot. I looked to the woman, slightly confused. Sure, go ahead. What is it? I watched as the woman reached up and rubbed one of her ears, almost in nervousness. What was she nervous about? Finally, she spoke again, releasing her ear.
Would you mind if I asked you about the human world?
Oh, interested, are you? The human world? Why would she be curious about the human world? Was she a demon that looked like an anthropomorphic rabbit? The woman hugged her large staff against her body as she shrugged.
How are things like in the human world? Is there equality amongst your races? I've only heard stories, but since you're a human yourself, you would know.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. My mind ran back to the social life of the human world. At least in America, we claimed to be equal, but we had major prejudice against our other races, whether we liked it or not. I found myself to be on neutral ground, not wishing to be extreme on either opinion, but knowing the difference between what was morally right and wrong. I looked to the woman and shook my head, making her eyes widen slightly. We're not exactly equal. I mean, we try, but we're pretty divided. However, it's only one of many problems we face. The woman nodded before walking over and sitting down on the bed beside me.
I see. Are there major wars fought because of it?
Yeah, big time, dude. In a way, we have marches and movements, but we at least try not to escalate it to war where I live. It's better to resolve things without violence.
That's smart. I hope that equality can be found in your world.
What about here? The woman shook her head, her smile turning a bit grim. I could tell that things were rough here, just from looking at her expression.
We have sort of a caste system here. What kind of demon you are determines what life you live. Demons of Lilith like Diana are usually royals and nobles, while animal demons like me are much, much lower in the ranks.
Oh, poor chick. Come on. She's got rabbit ears and she's got a staff. What more could you ask for? I don't know. It looks pretty cool to me. I could hear her anger and shame just from her voice alone. Were things really that bad here? That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. That's why I joined the rebellion. We intend to make changes, make it better. I want to be part of that and help fix things.
I feel like I'm playing Dragon Age right now, like the mages in the rebellion. That's pretty cool. There was a confidence in her words that didn't match the look in her eyes. She knew something was off in what she said, but she expressed it anyway as her reply to me. I didn't know whether or not to prod or keep silent. I wouldn't be here long, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. The woman shook her head out as if she was scattering the thoughts from her mind and looked at me.
So, you are getting married. You must be excited to get back with your family and soon-to-be partner.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I'm excited to go back. For a brief moment, I had nearly forgotten that I was getting married. My mind began to wander to the one who was waiting for me, making my heart ache. As I looked down at my lap, the rabbit woman looked down as well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you upset. But you will be home soon.
Fingers crossed. I nodded. I shouldn't have let it get me down, but I really did miss being in the human world. I think anyone in my situation would understand, especially since I was a bride. I looked at my hand, seeing my engagement ring, and imagining the wedding ring that was made for me replacing it. Soon enough, it would be on my finger, and I would be able to continue living my life as normal. Pulling myself out of my thoughts, I looked at the woman as she stood and bowed to me.
Well, I shall leave you be. I will bring food whenever it is ready, so that you don't starve.
Thank you so much. That would be lovely. Thank you. I appreciate it. With that, the woman left, leaving me alone in my room to wait. I remained in my room until the night came. I was given food which looked like soup. The woman who gave it to me apologized for letting me know that food was scarce until the upcoming harvest, which was a couple of days away. Being that I was only staying the day, I didn't mind much. I was more concerned over what I was given to eat. It was some sort of stew with mysterious chunks swimming in its broth. Actually swimming in it? Like literally? It smelled surprisingly good, but who knew how it tasted? Oh, we're eating this. We're eating this. I gulped. I had to try it. I had to eat it. I hadn't eaten in 2 days, even before I came down to the demon world. What? I was pretty certain Diana wouldn't poison me now, and I was fairly sure that she wouldn't serve me anything disgusting. I lifted the spoon that was sitting on the broth, letting it capture some of the stew as it rose. I mean, it wasn't terribly scary to look at. I gulped and slowly brought the spoon to my lips, feeling the heat emanate from the stew. A knock rapped on my door, breaking me out of my train of thought. Come in. The door opened to reveal Diana with a plate holding things I recognized, bread and cheese. I let out a heavy sigh of relief before Diana laughed.
I suggest not trying that. As good as it smells, the taste would not sit well with you.
Why did you give it to me then? Instantly, I moved the bowl to the nearby table, thankful that I did not have to try it. Diana handed me the plate and nodded, reassuring me that what was on it was what it seemed.
It's not much, but it's human food. Eat up.
Nice. I will. I began to chow down, feeling the hunger in my stomach dissipate with each bite and swallow. The food I was eating, surprisingly, was delicious. As I began to crave something to drink, Diana chuckled and formed a small goblet in her hand, filled with a clear liquid that I assumed would to be water. I took it and drank it down, feeling my thirst quenched before I let out a sigh. Ah, feels so much better.
I can tell. Take a moment to finish eating. Then we'll head for the ritual.
Diana led me down the corridors to the war room where I had originally arrived to reveal the table covered in plants and artifacts of different kinds. None of it made sense to me, but I had to only assume it was what was needed for the spell to work. Diana walked to the table and took note of what she saw, nodding.
This should work.
You know, it's kind of crazy because you think about the person who actually came up with the spell, like all of this stuff they had to figure out, probably through trial and error to make it work. That's pretty crazy.
You're in doubt?
Have to be after the last time we tried sending her home. Do we have a human anchor?
No, you're on your own this time. But we'll make sure you survive casting it.
The spell should work, however, because we'll be using energy material. It will only require a slice of your energy on top of these items, which your guard can refill immediately after this.
I wonder how he's going to do that.
Just make sure you don't die casting it.
Diana smiled at her guard before turning to me.
So, are you ready to return home?
Yes. She didn't have to ask. I'm ready. Diana nodded once more before turning back to the table. She lifted her arms over the surface and lowered her head, muttering under her breath. As soon as this portal opens, we best be diving through. Like, don't even say goodbye, just go. As she spoke, the table began to glow. As she did, a dark purple aura began to surround her form as she lifted and arched her head back, staring at the ceiling. A glimpse at her eyes made me gasp. Warm golden orbs covered her blood-red irises, glowing with magic. She was deep within the spell, and I could see it slowly draw energy from her body. The items on the table began to gleam wildly, light orbs floating from them and dancing in the air above the table's surface. They began to weave back and forth with each other, almost as if the lights were dancing to a silent tune. The other demon stepped back as Diana moved her arms up and pointed to the dancing lights. Her finger pointed into the air, leading the lights to follow where it directed obediently. She drew a large circle in the air, and the lights followed like a perfect trail, spreading out and forming a large void in the air. As they finally stopped moving, they burst into a bright light, causing the demons and I to cover our eyes from it. Whoa. It engulfed the room, but died down just as fast, revealing a small tear in the air. Diana quickly leaned forward and dug her hands into it before pulling the tear apart, revealing my bedroom. This is like some Bioshock Infinity stuff, dude. Let's go. Diana continued to pull the tear open, giving enough space for me to jump through. Let's do it immediately. Just go, man. Don't even think about it.
Hurry and go through. This is your chance.
Hurry, dude. I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I gripped the bottom of my dress and rushed forward, using momentum to jump into the air and forward towards the void. I could almost reach it. I could feel the air conditioning of my room right at my fingertips.
She will never leave this world alive!
Dude, as soon as that thing was open, we should have hauled ass. Son of a bitch. The demon lord's voice rang through the air just as I saw my fingertips pass through the tear. What stopped the rest of my body was a red light and a force, forcing me and Diana back from the opening. Gah! Oh, shit. I felt my body fly backward and slam into the wall before I landed on the stone ground. I heard Diana as well land beside me with a painful thud. I looked up and felt my heart break as the tear became wrapped in red lightning, zipping itself closed and vanishing into thin air. No, this could not be.
Damn it!
Oh my god, all day wasted.
That should have worked. How could it have failed?
We must have missed something. Was there anything we had forgotten?
No, I verified everything myself.
Then why was the Demon Lord able to overpower a gate spell?
I highly doubt you know either, brute.
Damn, dude, he's concerned, okay? Poor guy.
Stop fighting! We need to make a plan and all of you are just being stupid! Stupid, 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 stupid!
Okay, damn.
Are you alright, Isaiah?
I'm fine.
I was too lost in my mind to fully understand what was going on around me. I was so close. I felt the other side. I had almost made it home. Did her fingertips, get sliced off? Why couldn't I go home? Diana's grunt of pain next to me made me shoot my head towards her, and I watched her slowly push herself off of the ground and glare at the table.
The Demon Lord must have done something more than simply bring her here.
What could he have done?
No, the Demon Lord is incapable of doing anything of the sort. His lackey imps must have done something to her.
Well, either way, it's been done.
A spell?
A curse.
No. I looked to the rabbit woman, seeing her stare wide-eyed at me. The other demons stared at me as well, and suddenly I felt like I was on display. Was something wrong with me?
She will not leave the demon world alive. He must have placed some sort of curse on her to prevent her from leaving this plane. In order to leave, she'd have to die.
My dude, this is not good. This is not good at all, dude. What? My mind went blank. Did the Demon Lord really curse me? Was I forced to stay in this world until I died? I could never go back?
Are you suggesting a barrier curse?
That would explain the red energy that sealed the tear.
But dark magic like that requires?
Blood of 1,000 demons. He must have sacrificed part of his army to cast a curse on her that would prevent her from leaving.
Dude, that is super straight, like, ridiculous. I mean, he's losing too. Like, you think he just has those, like, soldiers to spare?
The Demon Lord is that desperate for her.
That's ridiculous, dude.
The only way to break that kind of curse is to kill the caster, the Demon Lord himself.
Take his ass out, man. Go take him out.
He's trapped here until this war is over.
My body began to shiver violently. The Demon Lord killed 1,000 demons just to trap me here. Why? I slammed my fist into the ground and began to scream. I want to go home. I could feel the sympathy and anger in the room, but I didn't care. I was beyond livid. I was far past broken. I was seeing red. Ugh. Oh, shit. Oh, magic. As my voice ripped through the air, a bright light erupted through the room once again. Everyone covered their eyes, but Diana quickly scrambled to get on her knees and covered me with her body. She held me tightly as the light invaded the space and slowly began to fade. As the light finally died, everyone moved their hands to see what had happened. What happened, dude? In the air was a white tear that was slowly opening, facing down towards the table. Something was coming. I could feel it in the air. The guard summoned his spear and pointed it at the tear, glaring at it and gritting his teeth. Is it freaking Sam and the other dudes?
Something's coming!
Dude, that sounds like them. In reply, Diana summoned what looked like a saber and placed it in front of us.
Ready yourselves! It could be the Demon Lord!
Oh, this is about to be the final showdown. The other demons in the room readied themselves and stared at the tear, either holding a weapon or preparing a spell. I felt the air change, becoming heavier as the tear began to grow. The energy around it began to pulsate, making everyone in the room that much more tense. I stared at the tear as well, frightened as to what was coming. Was it the Demon Lord, his minions? My mind began to cycle through fearful ideas of what was about to appear. Oh, it's them. I know that Matthew scream anywhere, dude. My heart almost stopped. Fallen from the tear and landing on the table were the 5 incubi brothers. They were piled on top of one another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off of the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised. As the tear in the air closed, the ogre man was the first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Who are they?
Careful, they could be the Demon Lord's men.
Well, that's partially true, I suppose. No. The rebels looked to me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, and I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. There they were right in front of me. My mind couldn't help but remember how I had first met them. They had all been on the floor of my mansion, unconscious and wounded. Now they were in front of me, in the demon world. I know them. I stared at the one I was meant to marry, seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. I was going to go home. The question was how.
That's enough for you, human.
What?
Oh, you gonna cry? Suck it up.
Oh, that's definitely Malix, I think.
See you in the full game.
Oh, shit. You going crazy, my dude. Jeez. Oh, he was talking to us. That's funny. Thank you for playing the demo for Seduce Me 2 The Demon War. We hope you enjoyed the experience. Oh, damn straight, dude. This was freaking awesome. We have a lot in store, and we have a lot of things planned that we can possibly add, such as a male protagonist, another romantic route with Diana, and even a second game. Wow, dude. We thank you again for playing the Seduce Me team. Sweet, dude. This was freaking awesome. I gotta admit, I'm gonna leave that part in because, these guys, I'm impressed with their game, honestly. I never thought I could have liked a game, I guess, like this, which I suppose is a girl game, I suppose, as the, a tome is, I guess. But I gotta admit, I like it. It's pretty good, man. I'm pretty into it. So, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this. Very long demo. I was expecting it to be shorter, but I'm glad it wasn't. I was really surprised how far it went. Like, that's pretty crazy for a demo as far as I'm concerned. But, I mean, hey, this was awesome, okay? I had a blast playing this. Thank you again, Michaela Laws, as well as all of the team members you work with. Just, for hooking me up a little bit early with this. I've been waiting to play this, so it's good to get, finally get a chance to play it. And I'll leave their Kickstarter in the description down below. Just because, if you guys feel like you want to fund the game, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, it's a freaking good game. I mean, I'm excited for when this game comes out. You're definitely going to be seeing this when the actual final game finally launches. So with that being said, guys, make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. And if you did enjoy, consider sharing it as well. If you want to become a Sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been MrBayeasy, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.